Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Oh, it was good. Just still a lot of maintenance on MSTR. I've been moving out of some of that. DQ, HUSA, Enphase, both directions for me. Those were kind of my main deals this week. Caught a little bit of McDonald's on the drop in recovery, and now it dropped again, setting up for earnings. So yeah, busy time for me. Earning season's kind of popping off, so just looking for opportunities there.
Nice, kind of the opposite for me. We started off real slow, and I've been waiting for some pullbacks. So when Monday showed up, I kind of not really stepped back, but I told myself, let's let a couple days pan out and see how it was. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff we stay on was offered, and got some moves and some swings that we were still currently in. DJ, the Trump play's been great for me since $15.
Yeah.
It's easy when you play it from down there. And then the weed names were good. A little bit of save, just more of a scalp with the news. But airlines in general were good last week, and just kind of more taking profit for me. I think we kind of get that. We'll talk about that moving forward. I think we kind of get that over the next few weeks. But finally, a red candle.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to handle that. I appreciate them. For me, you can see what levels are real up here. You see things that go against the trend a little bit better. When everything's going up, you get to that spot where it's like, well, which one's going to go up the most? And that can become a guessing game, so to speak. Whereas if you have some buyers and sellers on both sides, you can start to see what's real a little easier for me. So pretty happy overall with where it is. And again, it's a fireworks season, man. They just pop up. You don't know when, but you get the HUSA on Friday after hours, and you call it good. You call it good for the week.
Yeah.
So didn't make goal last week. I made gold and then some, and this week not even close. But green is green, as I always say, and pretty non-stressful, good golf week for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with with the smallest especially, depending on how much how much you do that, the it's hard. You can't like it's hard to hit a if you have a daily goal and that's what you're trading, that doesn't really work. And it's not that it's not you're not going to get wrecked in most of these that we're talking about here, but you just can't predict it. You can't just have open and say, okay, I bought $1,000 of open when moon, like the next day. That's just not how they really
No, you're gonna get. I mean,
they
like
operate.
on a regular day, if you play it right, if you know the chart, you're gonna get 70 to $120 on that position. That's just what you're gonna
Yeah,
get. That's just what you're gonna
right.
get. And whether you're, keeping 7 to 12% and rinsing and repeating that position, or you're just accumulating at a certain price, that's the skill of it.
Yeah,
The move timing of whether it's news that come, whether it's, I mean, you could get just the, oh, look, volume's coming in and we won't know for the next 3 days. It's just almost impossible to predict when you're gonna get the move. But the big money points to it, the TA points to it, the sector points to it, the technology that
yeah,
they have points to it. And that's what makes it high percentage. So I mean that, and the I'll throw the other one out there right now too. That's kind of, it's gonna get forgotten, and it's gonna go 200%, but it's Fubo. Like
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
what
I
it
was the
is.
one I was thinking of.
Yeah, you're just gonna forget
Yep.
about it, and then you go, oh, I didn't get any down here at $1.50. Well, that's on you. Um,
Well, yeah, and yeah, 200% on open and Fubo. We're not breaking new ground here. I mean, this is what
no,
this is what it's popped to that several times now, and so yes, I mean, I just I think that you don't want to get impatient, and also the feeling like, oh damn, I picked the wrong one. Well, why are you in one? I mean, what's going on with that? I mean, there's just a lot of times that I see comments and I'm just like, how you're not in any of this other stuff we've been talking about. And you're not in a sector that we clearly are in agreement on that does seem to have some kind of urgency going on. Whether it's weed or crypto or solar or whatever.
I think
Um,
I think you're. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
that I just I guess when people make that comment of like, you know, why is this going up, or why did this get left behind, or everyone forgot this one. I'm just curious, like, well, what's in the rest of your basket, and what's your strategy, overall? Because I mean, if people are joking around, I get that, but like, are you kind of all in on this one, or did you just bring it up? What made you bring it up today? Um, I guess that's the teacher side of me. It's not just like if someone asks a question, I want to know what's driving the question instead of just answering the question.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Getting focused in, especially when when the way it comes up, when it's not an individual thing. Um,
Yeah,
and I think the easiest one for me is restaurants or fast casual. I mean, that's kind of what it is when you really dissect it. But like, you really couldn't go wrong with CMG. You really couldn't go wrong with Kava.
Ava.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like, we can't even talk about that one anymore. And
yeah.
there's it's just a
Wing for me. Like
yeah,
about
yeah.
a year ago. Yeah,
And there's another one too I'm missing. And even the one for me that really hasn't moved or didn't move yet, off where we were talking about it, PTLO is still 30% up. So, like, that sector's, I mentioned that sector for one reason only. It was very easy to pick the winners in that one.
yeah. Shake Shack was another winner for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Like, most of
Yeah,
them won. There was, but like, to get the good ones, it was a little bit easier to do for me. And you get into like a crypto or even like the airlines recently, not as easy to pull off. It's just not as easy to dissect those. And I think the airlines are probably the easiest one to, because crypto's its own beast. But the airlines, I mean, they just have a lot of moving parts. That it's hard to figure out exactly what's going to make them money. I mean, they need a great economy to where the fast food's kind of the other way, right? Like, when the shitty
yeah,
economy's around, people go there. So, yeah, I'm with you. That's kind of why I took the daily volume profile. We'll talk about that more in the private stuff. I took that out. It's just another number for people. I don't really think it's helping. I don't think it's helping them as it helps me. But
yeah.
the thesis has missed an awful goddamn lot. So let's just start there. um,
Right, right. Yeah,
let's just start with that, really, and having that be a big check, because I think that will also give you the time. Real estate, perfect example. We were just like, you're gonna have to buy this ugly shit and wait till September. And I mean, it wasn't quicker than that, yes, but at least the thesis had kind of a time, a reasonable time around it. And when we started, it was still 10 months. Um, so yeah, I'm with you on the why are you picking one, and why are you expecting it to go to the moon today?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, and I think the even just the way I phrase things, the ones that I do think are going to move and have some urgency to it. I'll say that I said that with DQ.
Yeah,
I
good
thought
call
the
this week.
urgency was like
Great call.
was like I was thinking like, well, Q1, it's going to get 25. I mean, again, it did it the next week. Um, I thought it might pop like 22, 23 this week or something. But
You,
but
you,
anyway, they often do that. They do
they
it goes early. That happens a lot. But it's like open specifically 2 days before that. I said I can wait a long time, and
well,
that's my idea for this.
I also think, well, for I mean, I don't know how to say it, but Open already moved to 350. We already won that trade. I'm playing with house money.
Yeah,
I really am. And I
right,
mean,
right.
if you missed that or weren't here for that, I'm sorry, but I don't think that gets said. So I'm gonna say it right now. Yeah, we already won big. I mean, we 100% of that already.
Yeah,
It's just still there. The setup is still there. So,
yeah.
DQ,
This
quick.
this.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let
Well,
you
yeah,
finish thought there.
the setup is there, and the longer term, I look at open like Tilray. It's like there's two ways. Here's the swing trade. Long term, I like the company a lot too. So there's sort of an investor side of it.
Combo.
Um, yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I think open goes to $10 or $12 years from
Whenever.
now.
Whenever.
Right. Yeah.
Before
But I'm
you
not,
retire.
exactly right. So there's a piece that goes there, and I
Yeah.
keep that piece in a separate account personally. I
Yeah.
just don't I don't like to look at that every day.
And that
But
message I sent you about account building, that little,
yeah,
I mean, I guess in some people's head, when you have that 5 grand only, like you can't put 500 of that away or whatever, and that's one of the allures of open for me and why I trade smalls. I'm up front with that. It's just
yeah,
it's easy. I can put $6 in, not that I do, or I can put 6 grand in. That's more what I do. Um,
yeah.
but like it's harder to I can't go buy 100 shares of Lilly. I mean I can, but I'm gonna be in a mental wreck if I got 90K in one trade like that. Trust me, I've been there with Nvidia. So
Oh
for
yeah,
for,
yeah.
for, for me having that price point, I don't think people value that enough because I mean you can legit learn while trading $6, $8. Like our ten
And
dollars or $12, and that just kind of I think that goes missed on why we do stick around those smalls because you're picking your risk, and unlike an option, it's not going to decay.
yes, and something I'll let you get on to DQ right after this, but like it's something that I've done with the bigger stocks is I know this is going to split at some point. I'm going to
Chipotle.
try to get yeah, I'm going to try to get as many shares as I can before it splits, and I have more to work with. And sometimes it's been I got to 10 on MSTR, but I had to sell some because it just made that ridiculous move. But I had 5 when it split, and that's 50. So that was kind of where I wanted to be with that. LLY, like I do have some several shares of that. I think they'll probably split. So, so that's kind of what I want, and I learned that from watching Apple from a distance. Um,
Sure.
when during the financial crisis, like way back then, I didn't know anything, but I did like I was an I have a lot of Apple stuff, and I just was curious how they were doing when all that happened, and then to see that recovery and the splits, and if you'd put money in it, then like this is what you'd have, and that like I was like, okay, well I need to start thinking in these terms a little bit, and so so I got into that, but yeah, I'm totally with you
Yeah, time is your
about account
friend. Why
building.
turn it into your enemy? And that's kind of what you're
Yeah,
doing with if you don't really understand the option game completely. Um,
yeah, yeah,
DQ,
totally.
I just had a thought with that, P. Because I mean, we do the voice thing every week. I mean, if you're listening to voice every week, you got to have some cues. And I mean, I said, what is this? I kept joking, is this Dairy Queen? And it was pretty much a joke because it's new to me. I don't hear it. I haven't heard it before. But when Professor or my partner pushes something adamantly, like 3 times in voice, it made it through every single check, and at the end he doubles down on it, says we have to have it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a check. I mean, it's something you highly want to watch during the week. That's just how I always see those plays.
yeah,
And for me, it's new, so it's like, oh look, a new book or something like that I get to read. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that's a good check. People have those little cues because if professors usually pushing something, especially in our private session, um, it's probably going to be on that short list that you guys want of quicker
yeah.
plays.
Right.
Yeah, so good stuff on that one. Because I noticed it throughout the week. I was like, every single time I write this note down, new play check in daily or something like that, it just moves.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, let me flip my page here. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about hedging. Um,
yeah.
so let's just
Uh,
hop into that since
this
that's
quick,
that's more
yeah,
you.
this quick, and then we'll get into and then we'll get into the market conditions thing. So yeah, I had a good convo with someone this week who was hedging something, and he was hedging it. He had one call with time, and then he bought a weekly put to hedge it, and so the call moved really well. Obviously, a weekly put is going to just get crushed on a move up, right? It was cheap anyway, but I mean, it loses like half its value fast. And so the overall trade, was up like $30 instead of 90 if it were unhedged. And and we talked. He kind of understood this. Like if you have an idea for a direction, you don't go one contract one side and one contract the other side, right?
Okay.
And because so if you want time, I mean, Enphase at 78 is my pivot, and I'm like, okay, so under 78, I'm going to buy calls for December, and they're going to be at 85, so nothing crazy out of the money. That's like not even half the candle that it dropped on. Um, and then as far as hedging goes, I kind of snipe at that as it shows weakness. Like mostly off RSI, like 3 minute RSI pops up. I'll do that. Or if first thing in the morning, if it flushes, I'll scalp a put really quickly. But it's a lot of in and out, and it's a lot of maintenance as far as that goes. So like if you're gonna do it, you have to have screen time, and I think you have to already have in mind when you're gonna cut that put. If a weekly drops 50%, even if it's $40 or something, you just let it go. But the reason that you have that, especially in solar and crypto, and the reason I do it this way, is that I'm not trying to turn that hedge from $100 into $110. Uh, they go 100 to $600 if things go bad on that stock, and that's why I do it. That's why I keep one around. That's why I don't really care about it eating me up during the day. But the other side of the position has to be big enough to where you're still making money on it, or this is sort of pointless. And you have to find that balance, and you really probably don't want to do that with real money at first. It's the one time I will say that, not even necessarily paper trading, but learn how those contracts
Just
move
watch list
before
them.
you just jump. Yeah, before you just jump into it on on both sides, because you're trying to protect yourself in the trade, but you're not trying to get chopped up or put a lot of effort into it and come out flat on something that did make a decent move. So yeah, I'm always happy to answer those questions. Just you're in grad school at that point, and if you want to do that, the grad class is open, but kind of know what you're getting into is what I would say.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the conversations in the room. I don't know where we pivoted or what happened, but there's a lot more just daily conversations about the shit you're doing before you do it, which is always, I think, good to do when you're learning. And for me, I mean, I'm not a teacher, but I only judge what I do one way, and it's by people being able to do what I do and me seeing that, right? Like if I'm
Yeah,
trying to teach you how to hit a draw, until you hit a draw, I'm not a good teacher. It's just what
yeah,
it is. It's just what it is. I mean, I could be thinking I'm doing everything right, but until the results come out in the students, and this week, man, I mean, even like Caesars INOQ was still in testimonials. I mean, just a bunch. Wolf, they're still on Wolf Index. I mean, just a
yeah.
bunch of good stuff. So I definitely like the direction we're going, but I do think you get a hit, you get another hit, maybe you get a double, and then you're like, well, I want to go hit a home run like the professor, and can't really do that. You got to stick to your swing and build out from there, and kind of just be diligent in it. And I think that's what happens is because it's a little alluring in the message of, hey, all you got to do is two here, one here, and you're good. And
Yeah,
I think people still make the mistakes of they don't even got the I got to kind of stay close to the money and stuff like that, all the little things. So you got to master that before you can hit that big draw or start hitting triples and home runs. That's just what I got on hedging, P.
yeah. No, absolutely. And it just the you can't you don't reduce your risk in options by making the trade cheaper. You often amplify your risk by doing that
Yeah.
because of the way that out of the money contracts work. So I there are situations where I'll trade out of the money, and sometimes significantly so. And it really has to do with, is there that activity up there at that contract? where people are like, yeah, this is plausible. It's going to go here. Is IV on your side? Like it's the run up to earnings. Like there's lots of things like that. And I if I just lectured on all that stuff all the time, it would just be overwhelming, too much information. But I'm always happy to discuss the dynamics of that with anybody. So
Oh, and
just let me know.
I got an extra, or I just made it up. I just made it up. Unk saying for everybody here for the week. Should start doing that.
Yeah,
Have a weekly one. If you don't have
yeah,
screen time, give yourself time.
yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
Write
Right.
that down. Write that down. If you don't have the screen time, give yourself time. It's going to be real hard for you to 10-minute trade and know what you're doing with your hands.
Yeah.
um, little market conditions. I've been waiting for this pullback. Let me switch to SPY here, man. I've been waiting for this pullback. To be honest with you, probably more closer to the 65-70 level, like not the 85 level.
Yeah.
But our earnings kind of seen that happening. Just not necessarily bad earnings, but just getting washed around a little bit. Some up, some down, and that kind of mellow things out, maybe cause some rotation, and then of course going into the end of the year. So I see that here for a couple weeks, P, which is great.
Yeah.
It's great for us because flow usually becomes real clear directionally, and TA levels either you hold or you don't, and the flow comes in. So it gets to be a little bit easier when we get a little chop. Pull back or chop for me at least it does. I see things a lot more clear, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. But in the back of my head, I do know there's a lot going on in the world, um, and pretty much I don't know why, but man, every weekend it's like the decision makers of the world are like, all right, let's do something spicy. So a
Yeah.
little mindful of that, but um, yeah, I was kind of feeling lost the last maybe 2 3 weeks, just all time high, and I'm a little more clear this week. It seems like for me, I don't know how it is on your end, but um,
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I brought up SQQQ the day before we got a decent red day, and just you're like that chart is ass,
yeah,
and I'm like, oh yeah, oh it definitely is, but nevertheless,
you can
the
trade it.
flow
You could probably
the
trade it.
flow is there. Yeah, the flow is there, and the trade is there. It's a cheap hedge for if you have some mega cap tech. I'm not buying Microsoft puts. I'll tell you that.
No,
But
Sunday, I was like, why is he talking to me about SQQ right now? And then Wednesday, I looked
yeah,
at the chart and I was like, all right, there's probably three trades there.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So what I can see is when it wakes up. The sustained move part of it depends on some external factors. One thing I said with the broader market, I said don't look for Tesla to move SPY to all time highs. It just doesn't
not
operate
gonna
that
happen.
way
Yeah, yeah.
anymore. And so that occurred. I didn't have that Tesla move in options or anything. I have some from when we bought it, and I did hedge it with one put that got destroyed, but what I made in the shares made up for that, and
It
and so
was
it's sort of getting to a little bit of a toppy or consolidation area, but it could go another $20 or so probably.
yeah, shout out to secondary. We legit had the same plan.
Yeah,
199 order in, just a waiting, and it never came.
yeah, yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean,
Um,
it just kind of, I mean, you get used to stuff like that happening, and it'll be back around. And yeah, it would have been nice to have a decent sized position into that move, but at the middle of the zone, you just don't do it. So, um,
yeah, I just had what I had left because that 220 was a pivot for me, but it was an option pivot, not really a share thing. Just because there's so much room down to the spots we talk about that I wasn't gonna re-add large there. But yeah, so with SPY and the market in general, the two red days in a row are still pretty rare to me. And if a lot of times what I see happening is they use futures to shake out put swings, short expiration put swings. So you get a decent. drop in the day or pop and fade or whatever. And the follow through on that, if you get one, happens from it being green overnight and then maybe moving up a bit in the morning, and then it flushes again. So I mean, I guess that's chop. That's the word people use for that. But yeah, any kind of position where you're trying to get a sustained move down is going to continue to be pretty tricky to me. Um, so don't chase puts. Don't really chase calls either. But patience will be rewarded. Is what I would say right now.
Yeah, just looking at the year here, or even October low, 3 weeks has been it. It's happened twice,
Yeah,
pretty significant pullback. We've had like 3 or 4 1 or 2 weeks that are just kind of consolidation. I mean, this really stuck inside a zone here. Is really stuck inside a zone here. So that's the question for me to you. I mean, do you see us stuck inside a zone here, or having pull back to a higher low? Which, I mean, even 550 would do that for me.
yeah. The issue to me is the two contracts I'm looking at that are most significant to me, open interest wise, are this March 520 and the December 615. So it's shorter expirations, the higher one. It is closer to the money. And they're both bid side. So they're both being sold, which to me kind of they're boxing it in. And you're going to get some retraces. You might pop to all time high. Don't think it's going to last. Don't think it follows through and just keeps going higher. And then the pullbacks, a sustain. I don't see a sustained bad week in what I'm looking at. It's happened without the flow for it before, but I don't really see that. I don't see that right now, unless you just have this cascading effect of a lot of mega caps having bad earnings. I don't know how you really get that. The the sector thesis for me that is really important. I talked about it before that with chips, there's some concern sort of go working its way through it from the ASML earnings, but then TSM on the other side, there's a lot of hype driving that
Yeah.
the American production of chips and all that stuff. So it's just going to be kind of a little bit mixed in that sector too. So I don't even see any sustained follow through down there. So you just got to be a little close to the vest. Is what I would say.
So do you? I
And
mean, do you see a like? I mean, we're 2 months out, so I don't feel bad giving you a decent window. But do you see the $20
yeah,
down, $25 down candle on the weekly here before the end of the year at some point? It's another one of these ass candles
um,
like this.
I don't see it yet. I don't.
Okay.
I'm open to the possibility, but maybe half that. So it's just everything's everything's a bear trap, right?
Until it
Until the
ain't.
weekly does anything to
Yeah.
change. So
Yeah.
so yeah, but so it's just a question of I think there'll be a pullback. I hope there's one. It's just not going to be maybe as big as what stands out on the TA side. That, I guess that's what I would say.
Okay. Okay. So you're like a 560 pullback,
Yeah, yeah,
565 even, and as healthy. I mean, that's healthy as hell. Higher. That's a great higher low, to be honest. So
yeah,
it's just needed. I think it's just needed, still. But um, I'm gonna most likely be wrong on the. It's got to come back and touch that 50. It tried twice, but on the weekly, it's we're still 525 there. Um, Probably not happening. So last week, P, 581, 586. You stayed in the 80s. I was kind of shocked on that.
yeah.
What did we get on the candle? 74.84. So you had the top. Oh no, you're a buck off. A couple bucks off. I had 86.76. It went two lower than me and two higher than me. Um, I think I just won that on a little bit wider range. Is all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
What do you got this week?
All right. Well,
I think that's what I stole last week. Yeah.
so I've got 572.90 on the bottom, and top I'm going 582.69.
I don't. I'm not. I don't feel bad about. I want to go around this level, which is 582.73, maybe a little bit higher as my top. But I was like, man, that might be a little low. But you went lower
Yeah.
than that, so so I'm gonna go with this 583.21, which is my daily volume profile. Um, it's a good little pivot there. It definitely doesn't last long above that over the last about 10 days. This is the level I went off on last week. Was this auto RTL, which kind of helped held up and then built a higher low at the end of the week. I just think we test that again. Maybe let's go 575.50. So I'm actually a little higher floor than you, a couple pennies above on the top. So more of a
Yeah,
doji again inside that candle even.
I think so. And I just that wasn't a
One of those.
particularly strong uh, Friday afternoon, and then a little bit of global tensions, and you'll probably see a move up in oil. So I just think there'll be a little hesitancy to start the week.
You know what?
Is
What
kind of
I'm.
where I'm at.
I'll drop it here because I'll probably drop it in the other one too. But you know what I've been seeing lately on Fridays, and it's not crypto.
What's that?
The
Weed?
weed, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know why, but man, it loves Fridays all of a sudden, and it might be part of that political shit I'm talking about, where they just like to do shit on weekends. Like people are just
yeah,
like, let's hold this over the weekend. But it's happened enough times now that I should say something.
yeah, yeah.
The Friday weed move. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Any final thoughts here before we get to work? I think we kept this to 30 today.
Uh, yeah. So real quick, oil. I think you'll be rewarded if you've been building some positions there, and yeah, still pretty big on silver, and then just some obscure metals I'll be talking about this week. So if you're in the room, just get ready for that. Get your periodic table out, and gonna talk some about that stuff.
Do you know any oil stocks, P?
I know a couple.
Okay. All right. I don't think I know any, so you might help me out there.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, I'm just gonna double down on it. Unc saying of the week, man. If you don't have screen time, give yourself time, and that's probably if that was like you had a top 10 list of notes and that was in it. Uh, that's
Yeah,
that's up in the top three right now, just because of market conditions. Time's gonna be your friend. So, um, reminder: I trade shares, not options. So think of that with
yeah,
that kind of mind. All right, you
yeah.
ready to get to work?
Yeah. So
Perfect. Like and subscribe somewhere, people.